Lando Norris has been tipped for big things in F1, but can he challenge Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in 2022? The tears that streamed down the face of Lando Norris spoke louder than any words. Having led the Russian Grand Prix since lap 13, and defiantly held off Lewis Hamilton in the closing stages, a cruel twist of fate had ultimately scuppered his hopes of a maiden F1 win. Late downpours had prompted Hamilton, and many others, into an impromptu pit stop. To the contrary, Norris and McLaren chose to gamble and stayed out on dry weather tires in the hope the 22-year-old could nurse his tires home. It proved mission impossible, and by the time Norris did pit, the chance of the race win had elapsed and he would eventually finish 7th. But his short-term heartbreak prompted long-term intrigue. Having qualified on pole, it was a weekend where Norris undoubtedly proved he could compete at the top end of F1. To delve deeper, would be to ask if Sochi will one day be seen as the catalyst for a world title win. Admittedly, career stats of no wins, 1 pole position and 5 podium placements in 60 races, plus a most recent finish of 6th in the standings, appears a slightly underwhelming platform from which to launch a world title assault. Norris' eventual total of 160 points in 2021 was more than 200 behind title winner Max Verstappen and runner-up Hamilton, and the pair's combined total of 18 wins from 22 Grands Prix amounted to a gap between them and the rest that was, at the very least, substantial. The sheer pace of Red Bull and Mercedes last season was such that in normal circumstances, touting any driver from the remainder of the pack to surpass both in 2022 would amount to wildly misplaced optimism. However, the next campaign is intriguing for considerably more reasons than the prospect of Hamilton being hell-bent on revenge. New technical regulations will come into the sport, restricting aerodynamic testing and altering rules on tire changes and power units. Designed to make the sport more competitive, teams like McLaren, Ferrari, and even Alpine have all been tipped for a tilt at upsetting the established order. The alterations should play into the hands of Norris and company. The numbers don't tell the story of his last campaign, where he regularly proved a nuisance for the 5 drivers above him, such as the time he held off Hamilton in the sprint race in Monza. While it was Daniel Ricciardo who took his team's sole win at Monza, the race in which Norris was second, the British driver consistently outperformed his more esteemed teammate, and undoubtedly ended the campaign as McLaren's premier driver.